Namaskar and very good afternoon, dear learners. Learners, today I, Dr. Renu Tomar, is going to discuss motivation in education. Friends, as the title itself states, we shall be trying to unravel what role does motivation plays in education, what is its importance, secondly, how as a principal or as a team leader or as a head of the organization, particularly educational organization, how one can keep one's employee motivated, one's colleagues motivated, how can students be kept motivated, what are the type of motivations in education. We shall be discussing some theories also in the context of motivation, and of course we shall be talking about the history of motivation. So, to begin from the last question, which is discussing history of motivation. Friends, as far as motivation is concerned, now generally motivation is understood in the context of psychology, and it is read as an applied psychology as a part and parcel of management, because many behaviorists till date has already given quite many theories of motivation, and its application has been studied again and again in different organizations by quite many researchers. But as far as history of motivation is concerned, this is something which is very old, in fact as old as the human life, because human as a person, we are always trying to unravel, we are always trying to understand why people are motivated or demotivated. In fact, to go back to the Plato's era, Aristotle's era, it can be traced since Aristotle era, and Plato, who was Socrates' pupil, he believed that spirit of three components, that is physical, emotional and logical links, has an hierarchical order. That means once a person is satisfied or motivated physically, then he or she looks for motivation on the emotional front and then on the logical link. This particular theory, which is talking about the three components, which was given by Aristotle, that is Plato's students, it was confirmed by him and it was applied, and this term was related to motivation. As far as motivation is concerned, as far as Aristotle is concerned, let us try to understand his opinion about motivation. Aristotle's view as far as physical and emotional parts is concerned, it is related to body and nature. That is, the nature decides whether motivation exists or not, and as far as motivation is concerned, it is also linked with growth and physical relaxation and sensory experience. So, Greeks had linked it with pleasure and pain. Pleasure and pain were seen as two parts together, and they were seen as a basis of motivation, and they were usually seen as irrational and impulsive forces of motivation. 100 years later, when the Greeks tried to understand it further, they talked in the term of passion and intelligence of man. That is, motivation was seen in terms of passion and intelligence, and the body was seen in the physical sense, and even the food was taken as a motivating factor, and then sensory organs were also seen to be reflecting the motivation, and this reflection of motivation physiologically was responding to the external environment. Individuals' response to the external environment, which was usually reflection of physiological basis, that was understood as physical motivation. Let me repeat, what is physical motivation as far as the theory given by Aristotle is concerned? This is that an individual is responding physiologically to the external environment, that is called physical motivation. And nature of mind, mental and spiritual, which leads to mental benefits, that was seen as mental motivation. So, as far as those incentives which were looked at from the perspective of motivation, where they were like desire. And just like their predecessors, the Greek later on also believed that the motivation can be induced by body or desire. For example, the fire leads to physical cravings, passion, and it also stimulates the need for that. But it does not stimulate determination. So, determination, which was seen as a operational from the mind, and only individual could direct it, that was seen as another aspect of motivation. So, from the Greek point of view, the motivation was seen from the two perspectives. Now, let us talk about how Descartes had seen motivation. In fact, his theory was more philosophical, and in fact, he has also seen motivation from the philosophy point of view. So, the new science of psychology, which was developed later on, that is motivational principles which were developed later on, they were more mechanical and they were less confusing. If we talk from the Descartes point of view, then Descartes also talked about passion, craving, and they were the provoking factor as far as the physical motivation was concerned, and determination was seen as another aspect of motivation. In fact, if we understand that how it was seen, the motivation was seen in the 17th and 18th century, let us go to Hobbes. Hobbes reasoned motivation as people giving for their behavior, that is behavior of people, behavior of their desire to gain pleasure and avoid pain, was seen by Hobbes as motivation. That is, here let us try to accept the fact that opinion of hedonism was still playing a major role in motivation, and it was one of an assumption. And schools, let us try to understand now the motivation. We know that historically it goes back to the Greek era. Now, let us try to understand why do we need to understand motivation in the context of school or other educational organization. Schools or other organizations are nothing but the social institutions, and they play very important role, and important role as far as the society's expectations are concerned. And let us accept the fact that as far as healthy development of children is concerned, this is responsibility of the school. So, school has a very complex responsibility of society, and it has challenges of crafting and carrying out agreement between the various stakeholders. So, that is why it is very important that school as an organization or the other educational institution, may it be the colleges or may it be the universities, they are very important organization for any nation, and they have to come to the agreement. All stakeholders have to come to the agreement. Who are the stakeholders in educational organization? The students, the teachers, the staff, the society, the community, and the policy framers. Apart from that, the people who are funding them. So, there are very many stakeholders, and all of them have to come to the agreement. And if they don't come to an agreement, and that too on a timelines, then the enterprise will fail, and only that can make enterprise successful. Which enterprise? Educational enterprise. So, to make educational enterprise successful, all the stakeholders have to come to the agreement. So, it is a very complex relationship, and who is responsible for bringing out that complex relationship to its end? It is the leader of that organization, the manager of the organization. And because they have to get all the stakeholders come to the agreement along with the timelines, so that requires that a person understand that how the others have to be motivated. All others have to be motivated and to bring all on the same level. So, as far as importance of motivation is concerned, let us try to understand that how motivation can be brought or utilized by a leader. First of all, the leader has to understand that as far as motivation is concerned, motivation should be applied from the individual's perspective, and it should be seen as an important parameter for an individual. So, how to motivate the individual? Individual can be motivated if the organization will help him achieve his personal goals. Individual will be motivated if he has job satisfaction. Motivation will come only if the person perceives that there is self-development involved in his or her working for the organization, and he or she is gaining by working with a dynamic team. If this is how the person perceives, then naturally the motivation will be there, and that motivation will further help the person to enhance his performance and thereby improve one's own personality. That will lead to self-development, and that will also make a person good team leader. So, overall, a motivated person means the person would be more understanding the things. Now, let us try to understand that how motivation in education work. As you can see that there is an individual who is at the center, and that individual will be motivated if the HRM, the leaders who are working for that, if they know how to manage the people, and secondly, they know how to give the best practices. So, to motivate the people in the organization, there are two parameters which have to be conformed with. First is that the individual should be best fit, and secondly, the practices should be best practices. So, the best fit schools, what does that mean? Best fit school states that in order to add value, human resource policies should align with business strategies. What does that mean? This means, of course, when an organization is running, particularly the organization which is being run by the private people, then naturally they will be working on certain business strategy for their own development, for their financial reason. If business strategy is at the center, that doesn't mean that human resource policies can be given up. The business strategies have to be aligned with human resource policies. This means that HR should focus on both the needs of the organization as well as its employees. So, what are the best practices as far as HR processes is concerned? First is that the HR activities should lead to competitive advantage. What does competitive advantage means? Competitive advantage means that one's organization, the organization in which an individual is working, if that organization is able to perform better than the other organization or able to give the better result, then naturally the individuals who are working in that organization, they will also feel motivated. So, giving competitive advantage to the organizational, regardless of organizational setting or industry, is something which comprises of the best practices. Let us try to understand it further as far as educational organization is concerned. The students are the stakeholders and so are the parents. Generally, as a parents or as a students, which organization, which university or colleges we look for? Those universities or colleges or those schools which have a history of producing good students, alumni, where we are aware that the student will be able to not just progress academically, but also be able to flourish in the other aspects also. So, the organization which can provide avenues, scope to the individual as per the personal requirement, personal need, to so that the individual can unravel one's own aptitude, attitude, learning, interest, and get the best out of it. Only then we would say that organization is yielding the best result. Only then we will have the best alumni. So, and school to be best in the industry needs to produce the best students, and only those are able to have the motivated staff as well as motivated teachers also. So, as far as motivation in education is concerned, we need to understand that there are certain merits and flaws. Do we need to understand the scientifically that what are the merits and flaws as far as the motivation is concerned? Let us not try to get into it. Of course, there are certain merits, there are flaws in a way that motivation may have the less of a discipline in the organization. So, motivation has to be strategized, and whose responsibility is it? The responsibility is of the human resource manager, that is the leader, the principal, or you can say the chief administrator. They are the people who are the academic and the administrative head. They are the people who have these responsibilities of the HR activities, to align those HR activities with the organizational strategy with the optimum efficiency, along with that this also needs to be aligned with individual's need. So, here when HR gets into action, that means human being is in the center, because all the actions of human resource will be concerning the physical, financial and human resource to accomplish the goal. So, all the three resources will be utilized to accomplish the goal. And what is going to be the goal? The goal would be to keep the team motivated. Which team? Here, when we are talking in the context of the school, here the team doesn't mean just the teaching faculty or the non-teaching staff. It also means the students, it also means the parents, it also means the funding agency. So, all the people who are involved in it, they should be motivated, and every concern should be there to utilize the physical, financial and human resource to the best of manner to accomplish the goal of the organization. So, how can this be done? This can only be done if the employees are willing. Employees are willing to work. If the employees are ready to give their best in the enterprise, only then enterprise can secure the best possible position in the market. When we are saying market, generally educational sector doesn't talk about the market, but this is a fact that if we understand it as a market, then competitiveness will prevail. And of course, we have to understand that as far as giving education is concerned, as far as teaching is concerned, teaching learning process is something in Indian context, it is seen with great honor. But along with the honor, it also needs to be seen from the professional perspective. And to see it from the professional perspective, it is very important that we are concerned about the output. We are concerned about the other organizations with which we are competing, and we should also be concerned about the complete utilization, the possible utilization of resources in a direction to get the best of the efficiency of the employee. How the level of subordinates of the employee can be improved. Usually it is seen, as far as the employees are concerned, their level is decided by their qualification and abilities. So, this goes without saying that employees should be given scope and space to improve their qualification and abilities. To get the best of their work, the performance, the gap between the ability and willingness also needs to be filled up. How the gap between the ability and willingness can be filled up? How we can improve the level of performance of subordinate? For this, we will have to apply various theory of motivation, and we will have to understand need in detail. We also will need to understand how the morale of the organization can be kept up. Usually, if this can be done, if we can improve the level of performance of the subordinate, this will usually result in 1. Improvement in productivity, 2. Reducing cost of operations, and thirdly, improving overall efficiency. What leads to the achievement of organizational goal? We have to understand, as far as the achievement of organizational goals is concerned, they can be achieved if, number 1, there is best possible utilization of resources. Who are resources in academic organization? Financial organization, financial resources is there, physical resources is there, and thirdly human resources is there. Generally it is seen that organization which has demotivated people and disinterested leadership, they have lesser utilization of resources, and all the three resources here, that means the finance is not optimally utilized. It is generally returned back to the organization who is funding it. Secondly, it is also seen as far as the physical infrastructure is concerned, that is also not being utilized optimally. Physical resources, how can they be wasted? For example, we have a good laboratory, but if that laboratory is not being utilized, either due to the lack of the interest of the concerned teacher or due to the absence of the person, that is lab assistant or the science teacher, who is capable of utilizing that lab, then naturally that physical structure is, the physical resource is being wasted. Then at times it is also seen that human resource is also wasted. Like there are people in the organization who are very good at theatre and the person is teaching social sciences. If we are not utilizing that extra knowledge of that person, the extra learning of that organization, then naturally we would say that we are not best possibly utilizing that resources. So, whatever the teachers or the non-teaching staff knows, their knowledge, and this knowledge may or may not be in the context of the duty and responsibility which has been assigned, that should be utilized optimally and in the best possible manner. How can that be done? That can only be done if there is cooperative work environment. What does cooperative work environment means? That if an individual lacks something or individual needs something, he or she can freely go to the other person in that organization, may it be the colleague or may it be the senior, and seek the help of that person, and the person also gives it freely. Then that environment is participative, that environment has the cooperative work environment, and in that organization generally the employees are also goal directed and they act in a purposive manner. How does motivation in education is linked with goals? Goals can only be achieved if coordination and cooperation is taking place simultaneously. That means if the coordination and cooperation is taking place in an organization, that itself means that the people in that organization are motivated, and only then the goals can be achieved. So, friends, directly or indirectly, motivation plays a very important role as far as achievement of goals is concerned, building friendly relationship is concerned. Motivation is a very important factor. This brings employees satisfaction, this brings employees together, they work with their best possible abilities, and the mind and the framework is being given very freely, and even the ideas are also shared in that organization. The incentive plan for the benefit of employees is also there of the organization. If the organization has a positive environment, then naturally it means the employees who are there in that organization, they can expect monetary and non-monetary incentives. That also means that the promotion opportunities will be there for the employees, and disincentives for inefficient employees will also be there. Friends, the third point is very important. The reason being that if inefficient employees also get the same kind of treatment which the positive employees are getting, that is getting promotion and getting monetary incentives, then naturally the people who are doing good, they will not feel motivated. So, disincentives for inefficient employee is as important as promotion opportunities and monetary and non-monetary incentives for the good employees or the employees who are giving their best in the organization. So, In order to build a cordial and friendly environment in the concern, the most important thing which a leader has to take into consideration is building effective cooperation, which will bring stability. Effective cooperation means that everybody has the similar kind of say. That means the organization is fair and the individual is getting to do the best as well as achieving the best, and it will help in providing a smooth and sound concern in which individual interest will coincide with the organizational interest. This will absolutely work in not just profit maximization but also improving the image of the organization and increased productivity. Whenever we talk about organization like education, what does profit maximization means? Profit maximization only doesn't mean from the perspective of fees or getting more resources, financial resources. It also means the knowledge, because if the organization has knowledge building capacity, that means the organization can itself have profit maximizing, because knowledge is something which is required by almost everyone, and if that organization has good knowledge, then it can have it can work as a consultancy organization, and it can provide the knowledge to the corporate as well as to the industry outside, and thereby profit maximization would be done. The productivity of the individuals will also be improving. Another important aspect which we need to look at from the motivation is that whenever the staff is motivated, it leads to stability of the workforce. Stability of the workforce is, that means old is gold. Friends, this point will be further elaborated in the next part of the series. On this point, I, Dr. Renu Tomar, is signing off and shall be joining you again on the part 2 of the same series. Namaskar, very good afternoon, have a good day.